crack the exoskeleton of the globe and expose what grows beneath the worthless surface. Observers have chosen to worship, inserted the great divide between sides that idolize and utilize. Open eyes and cloak the skies that rise and jeopardize. Designed to decompose, leaving ashes where it grows. Equivalent to several blocks of compost. Battle bound, degrade from concave to the dirt below. Later we'll recycle the material in a composition of all superior makeup and stature. And take what you capture from tape, disc, or vinyl. We make mix and master. Chaotic creativity cause external disaster. Similar to meetings held by NAFTA. Witness what's left of the destruction on the perimeter after nature and inertia takes over. The foreign its inhabitants will smolder, leaving vacuous space in the wake of the supernova. We gon' leave a stain on your brain. Chain gang in your mainframe. Get off the chain gang, maintain. Time, height, width, depth, value, it's all relative. 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 eyes. Are you my relative? That's what I thought before deciding should I let it live. You filthy mammal, not erect with crumb and grammar, lacking the intellectual capacity, mental faculties. Cadavers calling up thinking that they have as bad as me. With a squawk and the fab class, man, we got mad jibber jab. And we get the gab and make it get a cash and wanna go get a lab. So to keep the pace rate, we change faces like rain on a great day. You can't listen, change transmissions, mayday. You think it's easy to crystallize, modulate and synthesize, interact, bounce back, reiterate, then realize the monstrous magnitude. Nirvana receiving wavelengths, bombard, barricade, enslave the pavements, brain dead. Hit the elixir, the ether, take your dose, close your mental prison. This is the key to the corridor in the catacombs style.
Global delves, knowledge of self in the deep subconscious realm. At the center of the spear, flammable degrees is harsh where we dwell. Nucleus NV, global power cells through the stone and iron bells. Paper hyperbola, weather-wise parallel to the drum. Molecules march, retreat to the core, blow off out the cell box, streaming all elements, moving some frequency to clock. Prepare for subterranean conversion. Subtext of a scholarly subset. Under the light, under the weight at the apex. Study our orbit. Heavenly body, watch constellations of printed charts. Rhyme books like dogma. Prophets writing all the notes placed like massive strokes on the dome of a canopy starburst.
Under the underground.
Hey, thanks for coming on the show. Derek, what's up? How you doing?
It's good, Jungle. Yeah, great to talk to you again, man.
Always. Yeah, so you were telling me that you were willing to talk about your experience at the underground catacombs in Paris. So, like, how was that? And like, how old are they, first of all?
Yeah, so the history is, like, who knows, like, the real, true, unaltered history, the written stuff, or the accounted, the witnessed things, right? But apparently to Les Catacombs de Paris, which is a city I lived in for 5 years between 2010 and 2015. But anyway, so apparently this was a place ordained beneath the streets of Paris in the 14th arrondissement or district, which is where I lived, and we'll get to that later. But in like 1785 to 1787, 2 year span, it was kind of sanctioned as a place to move a lot of dead bodies underground, since the cemeteries were kind of overflowing, and health issues on top of other health issues that led on to that influx of corpses, I guess. So I think this is under fucking Napoleon or one of the King Louis Kablouis. So this is an interesting place, and there's obviously the touristy side of it, which so when I was living in the 14th district, I wasn't always privy to that, and I never did the tourist tour of the catacombs. But a couple years later, my ex-wife's good friend, her uncle had a map, like a written out stenciled map from some original thing. And that was like a really cool night, and we left at like 10 at night, something like that, and we didn't get back till like 3-4 in the morning type of thing. We were down underground for a little bit. And so having a map and understanding where certain access points are. And yeah, going back to the history of it, like Paris, they used to, I mean, it's still called Île-de-France, which means the island of France. And like the really center of the city was, oh God, I forget the name of the thing, but there's just like a really small island type of thing in the middle of a river called La Seine, river Seine.
Uh-huh.
And after expansion and population growth, of course, this city is going to expand and this and that. And so, yeah, during the time of greater expansion is when they realized, like, hey, there's like this underground area and all this stuff. Or they, I don't know if they had to excavate to create that underground area, because apparently, it's, what's the name of that rock? It's on the tip of my tongue, but think of the city of Paris, and underneath it, the rock foundation. It's kind of like Swiss cheese.
Oh, like the actual like rock, like the rock formations that's underneath of the Eiffel Tower or something?
Yeah, the whole city. Jeez, what's the name of the thing? And so this has been an issue because the foundation can kind of shift or.
Yeah. Oh wow.
What's
okay?
So man, I forget the name, but yeah,
well,
so go for it. It'll come to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was wondering, like, okay, walk me through the experience of like when you went down there. What was your first thoughts, and like, what were you thinking?
I was thinking this is going to be really cool because, I tried to avoid some of the touristy stuff, especially in Paris, where it's like you're going to come across a lot of stuff regardless, as much as you avoid it, just because it's there. And certain things like Eiffel Tower, I was reserving that for when friends and family would be coming to visit, so hey, we can all see it together, type of thing.
Yeah.
No, my ex-wife and I, we did, really cool romantic things, and we had a like anniversary dinner in the Eiffel Tower, actually.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And where we lived in the 14th district, we had a pretty cool rooftop view. If you poke your head out and look, you can see the Eiffel Tower. But anyways, so yeah, first thoughts about going to, I was excited. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, we're gonna take the less beaten path into the catacombs and be with a good friend who we trust, who has a map from a family member that she trusts. So it was like a comfortable situation. And so yeah, the whole city outline, there used to be a railway that circulated the whole entire city, and that got discontinued. I don't know how long ago, but but on that ground level next to the tracks are some entry points into the catacombs, which is not the area of where tourists go, because there's like a whole head office and all this stuff. It's right by the metro station in the 14th district that I used to pass every single day on my way to work, either via metro or bike, which is what I preferred.
So, like, what do you think those? If it's not the normal entrance way for the tourists, and like, who is it for? You think?
It was for whoever, and we're skipping ahead, but there are people called cataphile, which means audiophile, pedophile, philosophy.
Yeah.
Philo is means a liker or an admirer of fill in the blank. So catacomb file. cataphile. That's what they say in Paris for people that love to, you know, squat and like almost live down underneath the
And
ground.
like so what? Okay, can you explain like the catacomb itself is specifically a grave site that is underground? Is that what a catacomb technically?
Yeah, that's like the brush over.
Uh-huh. Like a simplified like definition.
Yeah, yet there's so many corridors and paths. I mean, when I was looking at that map, I was like, this looks like not an overlay, but an underlay of, you know, the cityscape of, you know, at least, you know, that certain portion of what the map showed. And there was even, you know, street names of what corresponded to what's up above, actually.
Wow.
And so that was kind of cool.
That is really cool. Like how old was that map? And where did she get it from?
She got it from her uncle. I don't know how old it is and what it originated from, but it was pretty damn accurate. So we would have been lost like some other people would have been if they did not take a map. So
Jeez.
that kind of leads into a segue where I can show a little bit of this video I have queued up.
Yeah.
Just to get like a visual idea of what it's about.
All right, sweet. Tell me a story.
Yeah, so I mean there's only one story, but I still remember it. And this video that I was, you know, checking out to kind of breeze over for this conversation.
Yeah.
Brought back the memories, and it's pretty identical to at least a couple experiences that I've had there. And yeah, like it's underground, and there are areas where there is water, at least like knee deep. So let's check it out. I'm gonna skip around on this because I'm not too familiar with it, but
It's really cool. Well, like graffiti.
yeah, there's graffiti all over the place, all over the city.
Is this your personal footage?
No.
Walking for like 10 minutes, so
This is the most
we have
thirsty
found the
area.
bones. Wow. It's pretty insane to think that each of these would have once been an individual person. There's so many more bones down here than I thought there would be, but I guess there are like 6 million people buried down here. The way the bones are laid out down here is amazing. Some parts just feel like a giant jigsaw puzzle. That skull is pretty creepy. After having this tour, I've definitely decided now that I am going to be going through the illegal part of the catacombs. I think I'll be doing that tomorrow. It's way too late to do today, so I'll see you tomorrow, guys. By the time I finished up in the Paris catacombs, I didn't have enough time or information to get to the illegal entrance.
Just real quick.
Yeah.
Ghost Fort. I know that place. I've been there.
Yeah, so
you
you-
still in the
you-
city? Sorry, go for it.
Yeah, you were there, and like, what was that thing that they showed? Which was it a column of skulls, or was it like?
Yeah, that's the part I've never been to. He was talking about, oh, I'm gonna try to go into the illegal part of the place, and yeah, apparently it is illegal. Yet there's people there 24 fucking 7. You know.
Oh wow. So there's like the people that. So there's like a whole underground society that lives there.
I don't know about society, but there are like these cataphiles, these people that
Right.
love to just kind of dwell down there pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been folks that put on parties or raves or all that stuff. There's been like a New York Times piece on like, oh, there was like a fancy dinner in the catacombs, like devilishly, deliciously delighting, or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean?
Oh wow.
Like people want to play on, whatever the hell in regards to this whole like we're, you know, more than 6 feet underground with like millions of bones, and skulls, and that kind of stuff. Is it the depths of hell that we're, symbolically talking about, or whatever the hell? Like,
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like the official narrative is that you said, as you said, to recap what you said, it was that like the population was getting was growing a lot, and they didn't have anywhere to put the dead bodies, so they just stuffed them underneath of the city. But is that like that's the official story, right?
yeah, I
And,
guess so. Yeah, I'm not
and like, is there any alternative? I guess, are there any alternative theories about what it really was, or what do you think it really was? Or do you buy into the official narrative of what it was?
honestly, I didn't have a whole lot of interest invested in it. And
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I did not even see the movie. Actually, there's a horror flick, kind of
Yeah,
going off of this whole theme and all that stuff.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't see that. Yeah, I
you
didn't
know,
see
it's
that.
sorry.
No, no, I didn't. I didn't see that either.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but I think I do know what you're talking about. It was like very. Um, Not, I do remember the commercial for that. But I just don't remember. I don't recall the name right now. Um, was there any? Do you know any information about like if they were hiding anything else besides like their bodies? But like you said, you didn't investigate much. I know about it, but
I mean, you can find dead bodies in the river of Paris.
yeah.
Mobsters were doing that, since a long time ago.
Mhm.
Uh, Whoever has whatever motives for whatever the fuck of hiding corpses, whatever. What I wanted to talk about though is of just the whole notion of you know what is that energetic field like with
Right,
that much concentrated deceased material and that kind of stuff.
right,
But
right.
as above, so below. There's some
Oh, that's
really,
the name of it. Yeah, isn't that the name of the movie?
I don't know.
I think I actually think that that's the name of the movie, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Anyways, as above, so below.
Yeah, because I've been to a few of the cemeteries in Paris. The more popular, well-known one is Père Lachaise, I think, because there's like Oscar Wilde and Jim Morrison and folks like that.
Uh-huh.
But in the 14th district, right next to Montparnasse,
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of these cemeteries, they're like cities, like mini cities within a city, like a city of
Yeah.
the dead. And it's actually, for all the hustle and bustle and noise and all that stuff, it was actually a quite peaceful place to be.
Really?
Yeah. And especially, once you understand, things like animism, just spirituality overall, and just how we are eternal beings, spirits having a human experience, if you will, and that the energetic transfer of from incarnation to the next incarnation, if you will. We have a greater reverence for just the life and death process and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Can also understand the dynamics of energy in the whole phenomena of ghosts and all this stuff. And maybe it's just these spirits that are got too materialistically attached to the Earth realm that they so did not want to leave this realm. So they're like in between the worlds or dimensions. And that kind of stuff.
Wow. Yeah. I can only imagine. And by the way, your audio is a little bit muffled for some reason. I don't
Muffled.
know.
Huh.
No, now it's fine.
Okay. I'll try to speak more directly to the mic. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I move my head, I think that's the problem. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's all right. But it is fascinating because like you said, like all that energy, where is it being stored? It's literally right underneath of the city, still. And as you said, like all the souls of those dead bodies could quite possibly be stuck in between realms. So, oh, just got real quiet. And yeah, does that mean? I always thought something about like also like graveyards and being buried and things like that, because if you're as opposed to being cremated, like when you're cremated, I've heard, you know, for instance, like the soul could be released, but if you're burying a body, maybe it gets trapped and not, you know, and trapped in this material plane. So, and reincarnated in this material plane, or yeah, like it's because it's all energy. So yeah, what are you? I guess are you saying possibly that like those souls? Well, you mentioned that they're stuck between realms, quite possibly. So that is a lot of that's a lot of souls.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, that's I was just giving a generalization that this could be anywhere, and yeah, it's a great point you mentioned of how there could be like a really hyper concentration of that. But you know, among the millions of dead bodies, I mean, there could just be like a handful of this type of thing. And I was already at a awakened and activated state, and just being down there, I didn't. I mean, I was I'm trying to, speak on memory, and obviously, like we can kind of romanticize things or kind of get things distorted or
No, it's
exaggerated.
fine.
But I
Yeah,
was there, with my ex-wife at the time, and so I was really just trying to be, you know,
yeah,
strong and solid for her first and foremost, and all that stuff. So I had that in mind the whole time. Yet, I wasn't like brace myself because we're gonna encounter ghosts or whatever. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I had like my shields raised for that shit, just like
Interesting.
psychically, if you will.
Uh-huh.
So whatever capacity I had and gnosis of those, at that time, that kind of stuff. But
What energies did you feel like? I mean, did you feel like you were tapping into other realms while you're down there, or did you feel like it was just more like? I mean, what if you could put it in terms of an essence? Was it like an essence of
yeah,
light?
there were certain shifts of energy or just um, local ecosystem or temperatures in certain areas. I noticed
Oh,
like there was more dark and wet
hmm,
areas. There were more humid,
hmm.
warmer, or dry, and and yeah, you saw like honestly, like I was really just in reverence and just in awe and curiosity of the whole thing for the most part. Kind of feeling like a kid just on a cool journey, like the Goonies or some shit like that. Like, yeah, there could be some devilry or whatever the hell around. Yet this is really exciting. We're with some friends, and I'm with the woman I love, and like, hey, like let's just have a good time. And like we weren't the only people down there. We came across other people, and they're just like having a good time. Folks are like bringing beers and smoking it up and all that shit. You know
Nice.
what I mean? So yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
it sounds like something.
it really, lowers the stakes of, these uncertain, factors that we have, racing through our minds. I think, when we cross these people and they're just like partying it up down there, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like when anything gets mainstreamed, it kind of takes, like, there's an overlay of, like, mainstream culture that probably, like, covers over, like, what's really there, but underneath of that. But I mean, it does sound like like kind of an Indiana Jones type of adventure. That would be really cool. I think it was even in that movie where, like, he like crawls into he crawls he's like in the catacombs, I think, and isn't he searching for like the he's in Paris, right, in that movie?
I think that was
Or
the Temple of Doom.
but was Paris or no?
I don't recall Indy
It,
being in Paris.
but I remember him coming out of, like, he was swimming. He was like searching for the clues of, like, the one of the Knights Templar on and, like, on their shield or whatever. He was like he had to, like, find the right tomb to uncover, and then, like, he found the right tomb, found the shield. He did a little, what's that called when you, like, trace over top of the shield with a piece of paper, put it in his jacket pocket, then swam underground. Then he popped up in the middle of Paris, I thought.
Okay, yeah, like, I was thinking of another movie. You gotta like, but honestly, yeah, if there's Parisian reference, I should have caught that. But if that was the fourth movie, yeah, it was more forgettable than the first three. But anyways, was it
Yeah,
the third one, Last Crusade? Anyways,
well, yeah, I think it was because, like, this was the same one that I can remember where it's hard to decipher because there's one with the Holy Grail and there's the other with the Last Crusade. So it's like, which one was the one with the Nazis? I think it, or were they in both? I can't remember right now, but either way, that's what it reminds me of, is the point. But
the point is, we were not on any kind of mission. We were just there to check it out and discover. There was no goal outside of that, really. So,
yeah, no, that's cool.
yeah.
But
But
like, how deep is it? How long does it go?
it's a good question.
Like,
I don't know.
that's cool.
Anyone that wants to look these
Yeah,
things up, I mean, 5 minutes of Googling these things will get those answers
yeah.
straight and foremost. I'm sorry that I cannot provide that kind of wealth of information.
No, you're fine. But what did you want? Okay, you tell me what you wanted to talk about, I guess.
I'm going to show this part of the video because, this is the train tracks area of what I'm really talking about. And I'm going to play this real quick and expand the screen.
Okay.
What do we... All right. Oh, he's walking so gingerly with his all-star chucks, and it's not.
Is that an entrance? Is that an entrance to the catacombs?
Yeah, our entrance was a lot less evident than that. Like, it was just like a blasted area of cement that got opened up enough to where people can enter and exit. But yeah, obviously, it's pretty well known if folks are, tagging the fuck up out of this shit all the time, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so one of the things, I mean, like one of the major concerns I had was just, the sanitation of it all, especially, in the beginning of this video and what I talked about of, like there's like water that's knee deep. It's like, damn, this
Yeah,
is like some really fucked up, like, corpsey type of marinated water, whatever the fuck.
yuck.
What's going on? Anyways,
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's been sitting in there? Like, is it full of rat feces and all that? Possibly,
yeah.
possibly so. But it's
Yeah.
like
Oh, geez. Real
there
quick,
must.
I want to hear what you
Yeah,
got to say, but apparently, according to numerous people I spoke with in Paris, the rats outpopulate 12 million people, 5 to fucking 1, some shit like that.
well, oh my god,
Right?
Jesus Christ,
This
that's a
right
lot.
here.
That's a lot of rats.
Yeah, it is. I
But
I
yeah,
wish this guy in the video stopped to pause and just like admire this shot right here. So that's some of the sunlight that they can see from whatever uh, hole on surface level. So that
holy
looks
crap.
pretty damn deep. I don't know how many
Yeah,
stories that is, but holy shit.
yeah, that does look. It looks like something out of The Ring, the movie
Yeah,
The Ring.
right. So this is something we had to consider when orienting in and out of this labyrinth, and we did kind of get lost for a second, just like the map is pretty vital, yet you know, we have to be literate on reading maps as well, right?
Right.
Especially like our friend who had it, I think it was her first time, using it and all that stuff. And so, yeah, we were excited to be like, yeah, we'll go out there and explore with you for the first time. Fuck yeah, like. So
Yeah, man.
I've really just, I mean, folks just take these things for granted. The foundations that we're standing on, and how society and what it was built off of, and the
Right.
masonry and whatever it took to construct these things.
Yeah.
Like who builds these things, and like just this small hole. How long did it take just to make that in and of itself? That's
Yeah.
like fucking like at least 5 stories deep.
Right. Right. Exactly. Like, what would be the purpose of the design? Like, there's got to be some intricate like reasons why it was built the way it was built, and like why did they put skulls stacked upon skulls like in that fashion? Like, why wasn't it just like why wasn't it just like thrown down there in like a mess instead of just like because if it was really just like I guess okay if it's a tomb then they're gonna there's gonna be some sort of like reverence towards the tomb
Yeah,
maybe
respect for
out of respect, yeah, so like maybe that's a reason for that design, but like it's usually more to it than just that, I would think, but
Yeah,
also
I also think of just think about like this whole past every other day when I'm working, we get working in a pizzeria where it's uh, wood
yeah.
fire stove pizza, so we have to stack and organize wood. So
uh
things are more can you can organize things and save more space if they're organized better, right? And, like
yeah,
respecting
yeah, oh, yeah,
geometric forms and all that stuff. So yeah,
uh-huh,
and I
uh-huh.
think the fact that like the reverence and respect, as you mentioned, it's to incorporate a little bit of art or
Yeah,
geomancy, almost like working
yeah,
geometric patterns with whatever materials they're working with. I guess.
yeah, definitely. It was like Like I saw skulls, but I didn't see actual tombs. Unless that whole thing is a tomb in itself, it probably is. But then it's like a shared tomb. um, and how many? Do you know how many entrances are in? How many entrances are there to this underground catacomb?
Plenty. Yeah, it's interesting. Oh yeah. That reminded me. I didn't even like finish what I meant to say. Is that yeah,
Oh,
through the orientation. So think about like that. This picture down below. I mean, 5 stories deep,
yeah.
but the entrance is at pretty much like ground level. But I'm not going to rewind the video, but the train tracks
Yeah.
already that's at least a story and a half lower than
Oh, is it?
the city streets of Paris. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that gives us some perspective of how deep it really is, I guess.
Right. Yeah. So on entrance, you're descending quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't say into Dante's Inferno, but what's really interesting is D'Enfer Rochereau is the
Uh-huh.
name of the metro station, which is the placement of the official entrance into the catacombs for the general public. D'Enfer
No,
Rochereau. D'Enfer. That
sounds very,
word right there.
yeah.
It's just phonetically. It's spelled differently, but
Sounds
Enfer
like,
in French means hell.
huh, really?
Enfer. Enfer. You usually have to put a L apostrophe, or
Uh-huh.
if you're talking about something of like Dante's Inferno,
Mm-hmm.
well, you would say l'enfer de Dante, but you would also you could put a D apostrophe for certain words, and like so we say instead of l'enfer or enfer, it's d'enfer, like from hell. And so that always stuck in my mind, thinking about that metro station that I passed on a daily fucking basis, pretty much. When I was living in Paris for, it was for like the latter 2 years that I was living there. But
Interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. So what does that mean to you symbolically? Do you feel like that has any symbolic significance in your life?
It's interesting because, getting more into like Norse mythology, right?
Mhm.
And what does hell actually mean? Like going back to like Helheim, apparently
Break it.
means healing.
Oh,
So it kind of puts an interesting twist on, just looking at things and, just literally or symbolically or whatever, right?
yeah.
But what did it all mean to me? Well, I'm not one to, travel the world and be like, oh yeah, I did London. I went to this place. Well, what did he actually do, and how did you integrate? How did you interact with the people? How did you enrich your experience there? How were
Yeah.
you able to like shed some light from your culture to theirs, and not just kind of be whatever, just like the consumerist model of tourism bullshit, right? Actually
Yeah.
contribute something, living
Yeah.
by natural law principles. And what I like to take it even further of as an earth custodian is to leave a place more cleaner, better, whatever, or just the same as you found it. And
Yes.
it's a shame. You saw in the catacombs, there's all a bunch of fucking trash and all this stuff. And so
Yeah.
this is why government has to, install laws and say, oh, this area is forbidden because, or even where I'm at right now in France, in Mediterranean Sea, where it wasn't like this before, but they have new laws where you can't smoke, you can't drink, you can't do a lot of stuff on the beach or whatever the fuck, or you see this in for national parks and all this stuff. Why is that? because people can't just, you know, pick up their motherfucking trash or not throw it to begin with, and just, you know, take responsibility for the things that you consume, and, you know, hold it until you find a place to properly dispose of it. How fucking hard is that for actual fucking adults or any goddamn fucking human beings that have, or a lack of, common fucking sense and respect for nature and other people and other animals and whatever the fuck, you know?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's always the lowest common denominator that the society tries to like boil everything down to, so that it just ruins it for everyone, doesn't it? But it's like, it's not that hard. It's just that, like, I don't know, makes kind of some sense why some things have been like hoarded or sequestered for a select elected group, but it doesn't make I'm not saying it's the way it's been done and who it's been done by are the right people or the right way, but there's it's kind of like how people will behave in the community just kind of reflects the laws that we have, like you were saying, you know, unfortunately. But, you know, but I agree with you, like the way it should be done is like, you know, you do enter into a place with peace and cleanliness, and then you leave it in the same way or better, like you said. So I think that's the right way to go about it. But yeah, there's just tons of like, and who knows, like what we see is actually what we get. Like what we see that, you know, is on display for the public is just anything but an aftermath of what has been done before, like where by the, I wouldn't say government, but by like highly influential and powerful, like materially, financially powerful individuals that were able to, you know, kind of like clean up the place before the public was allowed in there. Again, that just kind of makes me also think that, like, was there ever a period where before the public was allowed to go in there, you know, and then like was it originally open to the public?
Apparently people, it was open to the public by written request way back in the days. I don't know what year it was, and, you know, the space between when it was, you know, first ordained to, you know, have the space to, you know, have access burial site, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But the 14th district, and I think this is my ex-uncle-in-law. He told me this story. He went to, you know, visit us back in like 2013. It's like, hey, Derek, did you know that, you know, this history of the 14th district? It used to be on the outskirts of Paris. There was no 14th district way back when. But what this place was known for was like, you know, drug type of usage, or I don't know about the opium dens and that kind of stuff, but like prostitution and brothels and that sort of environment.
Yeah.
And you know, it just struck me of, you know, like the demonic type of hellish in that context energies that are, you know, seeping to the surface from below. I wonder how much influence it had on the people of that time, you know. And so here's the thing, you know, we could consider with, you know, ghosts and the
That's true. That's
and the
so
energy
true.
that they emit as well, is, you know, like, it's not like they're gonna, you know, ghosts are gonna last eternally forever in this kind of realm, whatever the fuck. So there might have been a higher concentration of that type of energy influencing the people on a really subtle level, or whatever the fuck, back then. A lot less than it is today, because it's dissipated, whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Like the freshness of the depth, if you will, might have like dissipated over the years, but and that's why it's kind of interesting when people like pay reverence towards something, they kind of like, add to that energy in some way, but it's a little bit different than the initial act of like whatever murder or death or whatever, I'm sure. And who knows, like, I don't know how those people sadly or tragically passed away, but it is interesting to think about. And like you said, it affects the way that people behave and act above ground. So it's just like, like for instance, like, the whole idea that like the landscape affects the consciousness of the people. So it's part of the environment, and I think anything part of the environment would affect the way that people think. So, like, how are the people? Let's just say, like, obviously, I'm not saying like how are the French people, how are the people in Paris. I'm not asking that question, but in another sense, I kind of am asking that, like, you know what I mean? Not like in the mainstream sense, but in like kind of a more underground way.
Yeah. um, I noticed microcosmic behavioral traits in regards to like the domestication from a long time ago that's been instilled while America was still developing and under different systems that kept shifting whatever, and there was like battles and struggles to that
Mhm.
power struggle
Right.
battle. um and living in an apartment in the city, you kind of just, I don't, you gotta not take every little person and instance for what the fuck it is sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I had to learn the hard way with this shit. Because it was really a culture shock in a sense, because I didn't really live in a major city before, and like just having you know going outside of your front door, and you're having to watch for like a dozen different things going on right then and there, and you
Yeah.
see people flicking cigarette butts just on the ground like willy fucking nilly. You see
Yeah.
dogs on the streets with no one picking that up, and whatever the fuck, and like sometimes I felt the urge to like call people out on that stuff. And I remember this one guy, like, he had such an attitude with me. I was like, dude, like, there's a trash can, like, just like,
Right there.
a couple steps away from you. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's so cool to like flick your cigarette and lottie fucking da, right? And I was like, yo, man, like, dude, I live right here. What's up, man? Like, it's like,
Mhm.
dude, everyone does it, and by the like, our taxes pay for municipal folks to fucking clean this shit up after me, as if they want the government to wipe their ass after
Right.
shit too, that kind of shit, you know?
Sounds unfortunately a bit of the snobby aspect of the society.
Right, and not everyone's like that, but it's just
Of course.
this thing has been on my mind since I saw that and had that experience of just, it dawned on me like, geez, like people just want to be pampered by mommy, daddy, government type of stuff, and we're
Uh-huh.
paying out of the ass through the fucking nose because of that stuff, and like it's a vicious cycle. Like, imagine
Right.
if we had paid less taxes because we didn't have to have so many municipal services, because people actually, took care of their own shit, and we
Yeah.
didn't have to have people, street sweeping and all this shit. Not, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
city streets are fucking filthy, and if there were no street sweepers on a daily fucking basis, holy shit,
Oh my
they'd be
God.
walking in fucking shit and
Yeah.
trash and whatever the fuck.
Right.
It's sad and pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. It's like, I can't imagine how they would even like. I mean, you would think that there'd be a lot of pride to like. On one hand, I'm sure that they've actually done a pretty good job of like maintaining the historical remnants of what's the buildings and whatnot, but at the same time, it's like that's once again probably done more so by the municipality than it is or the people that are running in government versus like the everyday person that's just flicking their cigarettes on the floor, making it dirtier. But yeah, it's like weird how like it just made me think about like how many other places on Earth have historical historical sites are filled with like drugs, and they're drug infested, and they're infested with like underground activity and stuff like that. It's like an overlay of that nowadays instead of what it used to be. It's like hidden, like the original elements of it are hidden. And it's just like, what other examples I'm thinking of like are just like that, like around the world. So I'm just sure that like plenty of ancient sites now are just like covered up with like all kinds of modern crap like but there's a whole, it's interesting like because like when you observe that level of like that layer of modernity, then you're tuning into a different reality. And then like if you just, there's a whole nother reality underneath of that you're not paying attention to because there's so much commerce and so much traffic above ground, and people are like caught up in their busy lives. They're not even paying attention to what the story is going on, what's actually going on underneath of like all that, or historically like put into context.
Yeah. And that brings up an interesting thought in regards to just like how many overlays have there been, physically, metaphysically, psychically, whatever.
Yeah.
Medically, even the whole since the fall of Atlantis, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And folks are really into this whole Tartaria thing as well, but at the same time, it's like, can we not have a little bit more respect and remembrance for those that have actually built things in modern times, below fucking street level? It's like, it ain't no ancient Chinese secret that there are underground catacombs throughout a lot of different cityscapes and all this stuff. It's nothing fucking new,
Right.
And I like defeats or refutes anything with Tartaria. I haven't looked into it because I'm more focused on things that apply to my kind of personal development and trying to be more sovereign and ripple that out to that hermetically sealed society type of trajectory that I'd like to see.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that. I just feel like it definitely like takes one away at some point. It's interesting. And yeah, I mean, like I've not knocking the theory, the whatever official narrative theory about the mud flood and all this stuff. Like I haven't personally investigated deeply into the mud flood and like the War of 1812 or whatever the fuck and like happened. And like they say that a lot of these, from what I understand, a lot of these like modern buildings, well, fairly modern buildings from the 1900s or early 1800s are actually way more ancient than that. But really, like I don't know. I'm not convinced that like a building that is from the 1920s is actually from, is just way more ancient. Because there's just so much evidence around us that like, like you've actually witnessed that you don't need to be alive to during that time to like witness, but actually can see for your own eyes that they're fairly modern buildings in context to the ancient world, but it's like neither here nor there. It's more like, yeah, giving credit to the modern person, like in some sense, modern builder, if you will. Because even this wasn't that. I'm just trying to say it's not that long ago that we had like much more creativity in in our veins, like, or at least like expressed, and maybe expressed in a different way. But like, look
Or
at the crafts
being allowed to be expressed. That kind of
being,
stuff.
yeah,
What are the
yeah.
controllers allowing to be, publicly viewed in the eyes and all this stuff? And you mentioned the whole modernity of things, or modernism tied with materialism, and we can extend that to like nihilism and all
Oh,
these things where it's just, what the fuck are people building today? It's not really that artistic. Even in France, some of these more newer buildings that have been constructed, it lacks that, there was a time where
oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
construction was really beautiful. It's not necessarily Victorian or Gothic or whatever. People, can, trace back certain eras and all this stuff. But the point is, like, it lacks that creativity, imaginational spark that they embedded like certain symmetry and geometry and
Oh yeah,
all these things. And it's like,
no,
what do we
absolutely.
have today? People cutting corners to save money and all this stuff and whatever. Yeah.
I was at one of the Ivy League universities, and like just at Princeton University, for instance, like you have like the great architecture there, and it was originally built in the 1700s. If I'm not mistaken, I don't want to say the wrong thing now, but I'm double thinking now. But pretty sure there were some sections of it that was from the 1700s, and even later on, if you look at those architectures, it's so intricate, beautiful, geometric shapes, all that. But like, then you look at the modern sections of the campus, and I'm not knocking. Once again, whatever. I'm just telling you what construction workers have told me that have worked on the campus. Basically, that the foundation of a house or buildings are definitely not the same that they used to be, and that wasn't that long ago where that changed. Like houses in the 80s, houses of today are totally different. Like they were cutting corners back then, but they're cutting corners even more now. So like back then in like let's say the 1800s, early 1900s, they used to like set a foundation. They would set the foundation and let it sit for a whole year, and then once it's settled, then they would start, building on top of that. But now it's like in 1 month they're ready to build it on top of the foundation. It's just like that's not, yeah. So it's not that long of a time. I mean, not long of a time that has passed since like men and women were more creative. I would say like just take a look at like carpentry and that industry, but people are still kind of, I don't know, people are still kind of like working on that in like other countries. Like I get this, like for instance, even though this is kind of more machine made, but like there's this, I got this in Bali, and it's got all this like little intricate, like, as you can see, intricate like whatever the fuck design on it. It's a snake, but like they don't make that everywhere, but they still make it in some countries. Anyways, I think we got a little on a tangent there, but
No, it's all good, deal.
yeah. But what were we? Yeah, it's just when it goes
Respect
to
the
show,
architect,
respect the architect, and like it goes to show that like there's a lot of overlays also on like on the modern, like over top of like the more historical stuff that people aren't tapping into, and now it's just like buried. It's buried on top of. It's buried underneath of a lot of modern stuff, I guess you could say, that is completely irrelevant to what it originally was. But definitely makes you curious what it originally was. So yeah, I mean, I think that kind of answers a lot of my questions for now about the catacombs. Because I think people would like to. If you're curious about this topic, you should definitely check it out on online or offline, depending on your choice, your flavor. So,
Yeah, because we don't want people's imaginations to get out of control and manipulated to the sense of, like that weird movie that we mentioned, even though we didn't see it, and that kind of ties in with what's coming out on Netflix with the tarot.
I'm gonna look that up.
Like, these things, demonic and all this stuff, but yeah, the catacombs, deals more with the whole depth side of things, and maybe that's why it was created to begin with. Who knows? But oh yeah, by the way, I needed to make a long overdue correction of the, so yeah, Paris is sitting on a lot of limestone.
No.
So yeah, I meant to say, like, limestone can kind of corrode over time, if you will, right? That's what I meant to say. I think so. That's why there's been a lot of investment in this underground work, and that's why I said it's kind of like Swiss cheese. So I think that's also why they were able to kind of just like carve out all these corridors and passageways. I mean, you saw some of the intersections down below, and in that video while we were talking a little bit, because yeah, like there are a lot of intersections, on the street level, but also down below. But down below is just like more close knit and a little bit more confusing. So yeah, that was an interesting and humbling experience. But
Yeah,
it was a great experience overall. Felt like it was a cool, like, notch to pat, punch up in the belts, if you will, and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's probably changed you in some way that you're not even maybe even aware of, but like it's definitely taken effect on you. Like it's part of your personal um, journey in life, and that was special to you. It happened during your, you were saying in your point in your former marriage, and it was a romantic type of deal. So that's significant, and like that you were there.
Yeah, and also it was, if you may, or if I may, that it was also symbolic, the fact that playing on that wordplay, which kind of prompted me to say this, because I had this in mind as well, because the entrance was, just right off of the train tracks. And like years ago, like I did some crazy. I kind of find that even crazier. What I did a couple years ago, I had to leave a train because I didn't pay for a ticket to do a return. I missed my stop, and I just wanted to hop off and hop on, to just catch, one or two stops that I missed.
Yeah.
It was in Waterloo, of all places, in Belgium, and I was trying to get to Brussels.
Huh.
And so, in my defiance to the folks, they're like, "Oh, you got to pay for a ticket to go back to Brussels," and so it's like, I paid for my ticket, man. I just missed my stop. You know what I mean? Like, the fuck.
Right. Yeah.
So, anyways, like they were kind of giving me a hard time, like recognizing I'm a tourist in a sense. It's whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Left kind of out of spite. So I literally walked from midnight to 5 in the morning from Waterloo to Brussels. along the
Oh,
train tracks in the middle of the
wow.
night. And I was, I just got back from, Amsterdam. So I had some cool smokable buddies with me for the journey. But
Oh
yeah,
man.
it was kind of freaky, and I did stumble across, some folks, just kind of chilling, whatever, homeless, all that
Uh-huh.
stuff. So I had to like,
Yeah, you had to scout them out and see if they were shady characters and
yeah,
possibly
luckily it wasn't really the case, but still, yeah, there's like, a
that
couple
is
of trains that had to come by in close proximity and all that stuff. But
wow. Now
yeah,
was
I've
that
been on some crazy things internationally, and it's just, fortified my constitution,
mm-hmm.
just with the catacombs and all these other
Yeah.
things. So yeah, it's like a whole, it seems like a half day, but the impression can last so much longer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, what that's well put too, like the way that you said that. And because I know internally like I've had similar experiences but not like maybe that exactly. But that's yeah, it's pretty wild and how that shapes you as a person is is significant and definitely opens your eyes to the world and makes you see the world in a different light versus like there's some people that never leave their hometown. Isn't that crazy? Like how do you live life? And it's not like I'm necessarily cutting on them because like if you don't know any better, the fish doesn't the goldfish can't see outside the goldfish bowl. Like then it's like hard for you to like judge that per se. But like yeah, like I can't imagine not being able to experience what's outside of my own state. Like let alone my own hometown.
Yeah, real
Um,
talk. And, a sad fact of the matter is that a good amount of Americans don't even have passports.
yeah, and exactly, and like it's only a small percentage of people that actually do travel the world and get a chance to get that like are fortunate enough to have places to go. And if even if you're traveling, there's different degrees of traveling. Like there's the like you said, the touristy form of traveling and 10 days and then you're back home. Then there's 2 weeks, then there's a whole month, then there's months. I've never done months, but I know
Mm.
people that have, and this definitely has been a huge part. But even if you spend, honestly, even if you spend like a week to 2 weeks in a foreign place, it still can affect you dramatically. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
that's why like the best window of opportunity for folks in America is in between high school and college or after college, that kind of stuff. Before they
Yeah,
get into the work world of things, where it really sucks all your time and life force energy dry in a sense, or really makes it limited towards like what two whatever how many weeks free out of the year. It's ridiculous, and
oh man,
it's
you just
unfortunate.
brought up
A lot of
something.
other places have it a lot better, including France. And it's not to like compare or brag, whatever the fuck. It doesn't mean any place
No,
is
there's good
better.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's good things all around the world, right?
uh, yeah, it
No, but
really just enriches, one's worldview and really being able to be in like the five sense arena and beyond, live and direct with these monuments and whatever kind of structures, streets, anywhere.
yeah,
Any place you go, it doesn't have to be European or whatever, but just like being able to really appreciate properly these ancient architectural structures and
yeah,
edifices or whatever, right? It's
yeah.
going to be not the same as whatever the fuck is going to be peddled out in regards to augmented reality,
Oh my god, yeah.
vision goggles, whatever the fuck. It's not the worst thing, but I mean, goddamn, like.
Yeah, yeah. Or maybe it is the worst thing. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But yeah, like you got that right. I feel like it's just like I was gonna say something about sorry, I had an ear itch. I was going to say something about like you said, you only get like a week off or something like that, which is crazy. But like in Europe, uh, a vacation is like at least like a real vacation. But even the word,
Couple
even the
times
fact,
a year, man.
huh?
My ex-wife had 6 weeks out of the year off paid
That's
vacation shit.
that's great. That's super.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's super. But it's like at the same time, the fact that mankind has this concept called vacation is bizarre in itself. If you really think about it, when you're on vacation and you're on the plane and you're like doing your thing and you're traveling, talking to people, experiencing new cultures, you're kind of like taking it all in, and then you're like, this is what life's really about. And then like, I'm not saying that life should just be all play. I'm not saying that, but there's a reason that we need to work and to work hard for what we can then appreciate later when we do relax. But there's definitely if you compare like the type of work that we're doing now, like that is complete slavery to being on the plantation versus being free off the plantation, if you will, then it's obvious that this is unnatural. Going against, once again, natural law. Um, so yeah, just thought that was interesting that like we even have like a concept taught to us called vacation. It's like here's your little breadcrumb of freedom.
Yeah, and it depends on, it's not just government and their regulations and their whatever
No,
corporations and workforce. And there's a lot of like, even when I was working as a bartender in America, like
yeah,
I was able to have oodles of time off and go wherever the fuck I wanted. It really just depends on, and obviously, the landscape has changed with all that. A lot of people have a lot of free time.
yeah,
Internet, people can work from wherever the fuck they want to these days.
yeah. That's true. I mean, I don't know. I know that that's kind of like a pro. There's a pro and a con to that, but like I do think that I do see the benefit of it to be able to move around and stuff. But I lost what I was going to say about just like working in general. I can't remember what I was going to say.
Well, here's a play on words for you if that might spark up that
Spark it up.
memory
Yeah.
stimulus. Isn't the word vocation quite similar to vacation?
Yeah.
Break down the word vacate.
Uh,
Like what are we vacating from exactly? Is it the rat
yes,
race, and all that stuff? And
exactly.
I got to pay a little bit of respects to my grandmother because she was
Hmm.
an inspiration. She was born in China, of all places.
Really? Oh, really?
She had, Russian English parents that were, I forget what, they just were traveling around a lot.
Oh, that's wild.
But yeah, and ended up living in Oakland, California, in the San Francisco as well. Uh, what she said, and like I was asking her, like, hey, like, what, do- what have you been doing, for work or whatever? What's your history like? Getting to know her more and this and that. She's like, oh, Derek, my whole life has just been a vacation, that kind of stuff. Yet
Yeah.
she did work and this and that. It was just like the mental mind state that she had
Uh-huh.
of it's like the French had to say laissez-faire, like
Hmm.
leisurely going about life, but taking it serious at the same time. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
shit to be done. She raised, two
Oh, yeah.
wonderful human beings, my aunt and my father,
Yep.
and yeah, we can take life seriously and have it be the death of us, or we could take life seriously and have it make it the best of us.
Yeah,
So it's all about what we give in and put out as
with their
that law of
intentions.
attraction type of shit. And
Yeah.
real quick, just sorry, if you want to bounce off that, I'll get back to that.
No. I just reason why I laughed was because I could relate to that. I've heard that from my elderly folk as well. So, like,
Oh,
you know,
cool.
or not my personal, but like I've heard that before, and I was just imagining an older lady saying that, and in a like in a positive way. But it's cool, like when you can, get their story, especially from that generation. But yeah, go ahead. No, I can't remember. Slipping of the memory.
Oh yeah, no worries. But yeah, what you said, it was really cool as well, and it made me think of just like the laughing Buddha archetype in a sense. Being
Uh-huh.
able to stay enlightened between the two pillars, right? Yet understand shit's fucked up, but still being able to be on that trajectory of mastery of self and enjoying the ride, because once you do enable certain faculties of mastery within yourself, things just seem to work
Yeah.
better, and the magic that we're wielding can be more consistent and proper and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. And more, in alignment, definitely. The
So Natty Law, what?
Natty Law, Natty Bo. Is that what you said? That's funny that that there's a Baltimore beer called Natty Bo.
Oh, jeez.
That's what it,
I know there's like natural ice. People call it natty ice and all that stuff. But think
uh,
about uh, Nati, nati. That
huh.
the same phonetics, right? Naughty, like
Yeah.
Illuminati or
Mm.
Illuminati. Not are they being naughty?
Naughty,
Right.
yes, they
Or
are.
yeah, because they're the dull Illuminati. Their light ain't shining that bright. Anyways,
No,
um,
exactly. Yeah, or but like hey, that's what I was gonna say is about.
naughty is like netter, natural. That's all I want to say. It's the same
Oh, okay,
same thing. Yeah,
okay, yeah,
like natural law. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, then going back to your point about like kind of living between the lines, between the pillars of like, let's say the two pillars are serious and joyful, playful, not taking it too seriously. Like there's that balance, and like it is a fine line. Like you have to know how to play both and like kind of live both approaches in your life, I think. Because if you take it too seriously, then if you take yourself too seriously, then it can just make life harder for you. But also, it's like definitely at some point, in some aspect, it can misdirect you. But then if you're always like playful, maybe then you won't be able to respect what you're doing and respecting anything. But so yeah, definitely is like a key balance there too. But yeah, the light that they're shining upon us to be continued. I think that is a good place to stop or pause. But I don't know. Did you have any more about the naughty light that they're shining on us?
Yeah, well, when I was down in the catacombs, that's kind of like what I had in mind as well. I was really ready for anything because I was like activated at that point. I went through a really interesting frequency shift and this and
Uh-huh.
that, and like I was really about like making the darkness conscious.
Hmm.
You know,
Interesting. Okay.
to have an opportunity like that I haven't really had before, I was like, dude, fuck yeah. My wife is down. Let's go. Hell yeah. Like, we got a map. Holy shit. It's
Wow.
official, you know, like
That is really interesting. You just brought up something, but yeah, continue.
yeah, so understanding the whole, situation and like, okay, like I just brushed up on it and obviously, in conversation with people around and even coworkers, like, hey, I'm gonna go to the catacombs, I just got the news, this and that. Like, whoa, you're gonna go there? Like outside of the tourist area? Holy shit. Watch out. Like, yeah, I will.
Yeah.
For the good
Okay.
and the bad and anything in between, because like how are we able to refine our responsibility if we're not encountering and responding to things that can be challenging, I guess. So it's like sharpening that sword, if you will, in a metaphorical way.
Yeah.
Gaining experience, and it's not like it was some kind of heroic fucking endeavor, but at the same time, like, not everyone's fit to go down there and, be in darkness, have flashlights, readily all the time and all that stuff, because it is dark, there's no fucking lighting out there, like
Yeah.
some people do light fires down there, but they really don't actually, because they understand and respect the fact that, like,
Yeah.
the underground area and the ventilation ain't that great, and so like smoke is not the best thing unless you're
Oh,
just
oh, that
yeah,
makes
just
sense.
gonna have a cigarette, whatever the
Yeah.
spliff. Hopefully they ain't smoking crack and all that shit. That's
Hopefully.
whack. But anyways,
Hopefully. I do think, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Like why you wouldn't burn things underground and all that. But yeah, yeah. So just like the fact that you went down there with your former wife, now ex-wife, and at the time it was a masculine feminine union. Going down in the darkness in the caves, it's kind of like the right way to do it with the map. It's like everything's kind of like balanced. And I kind of felt the same thing when I was ghost hunting. I went with a lady friend of mine at the time, and when I was holding her hand down like this road, dark road, and it was just like it felt like the best way to kind of respectfully like do it, I guess you could say, because the harmonizing of the energies together, and yeah, it seems like he did it he did it right. Like, and it's definitely symbolic because it's like going underground, like in the subconscious, if you will, of the mind.
yeah, and straight up, that made me think of just going back because I had such profound love for this woman,
Hmm.
and I was really energized being there, and kind of like that on the edge of your seat type of energy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
More optimistic than anything because I thought it was, I don't know, like, as a man being able to like be in the position to, secure
Oh
and
yeah.
make sure things are good and at the same time admiring and revering the courage of, one's partner and all that stuff
Hmm.
and all that stuff. It's a cool how these things, a sensation how these things work in tandem as well. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, man. It's
Yeah.
just a good feeling of being alive as well.
Yeah.
Ironically, in the midst of how many bones and skulls down
Yeah.
there, which we didn't really see. We were not in those areas. We did not come across
That's
any.
another.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Sorry,
another.
spoiler alert. I'm sorry if that's such an underwhelming statement for folks listening, but holy
How
shit.
dare you? How dare you,
Give them
Derek?
the whole story, man. Shit.
No, but it's interesting too because like you got the life and death. You two bring life. The union of opposites form life, and then you got death like right there. at the same time. It's like pretty it's pretty bold, or whatever you may say. Pretty like graphic, like way of like depicting an archetype or something like that. I don't know what archetype that might be most appropriate to attribute it to, but it's definitely one of them, I'm sure. And like at that moment, okay, so was there any particular pivotal moment? And so you go on more, if you would share more about like the pivotal moment in your relationship. Was there anything that was like more memorable besides the fact that the profoundness of the love that you had for this woman? And what, like, at what point in the relationship was it in, like, at the beginning, middle, or end, or?
For when there was like a profound love thing.
Well, just like, were there any others, like, I guess, significant, I guess, things that were going on in your relationship at that moment when you, was it the beginning of the relationship? Was it the middle? Was it the end?
We were like 3 years deep, at least.
Okay. So it's like, still like, I mean, you said you were together for a while, so like,
yeah, we're together in total for 11 years.
Right. I thought you said like 11 or 12, but like, even though that's the beginning, it's still 3 years in. So that's still like, yeah, it's still fresh, but it's also not fresh. But it's still like in the beginning. And like, did you have any like other steps that you were about to take in with this woman, like in terms of the relationship, or was there any kind of like, did you just meet her family or something?
Yeah, I mean, we're already well established, married, and all that stuff. Even though we had to kind of fast track the marriage for us to, live together in a country, with her having French nationality from Polynésie français, mais oui, mon ami. Et moi de Californie.
Oh, wow.
Et on a vécu à Paris. But anyways.
Huh.
Yeah, I can rhyme in both languages, yo. And do the franglais all day. Like it ain't no thing. Because that's just how I've been living, man. Anyways.
Hey.
That's really honestly, cool. We were still rising in love and still getting to know each other better, even though we had a good correspondence between each other at that time. There was a moment of like that dark night of the soul type of thing, even after we got married. Just kind of like the cold feet on her part, if you want to, just to make it simple.
I can relate.
Yeah. Yeah, we were still kind of young, and like shit was kind of eventually suddenly almost, like we had that love, we saw that marriage trajectory, but we had to just,
fast track
put it on the books so we can live together type of thing,
Yeah. No, I actually had a very similar situation.
Damn, brother. Yeah.
Like
in the end, she finally realized that I married her only to, be able to live in France. Can you believe that shit? Like, what a white wedding. No, I'm just kidding. That's total bullshit. But no, I was really astounded by the amount of love that this woman activated within my heart. To be honest, like, yeah. That kind of led on to my awakening process. Because if I didn't have that heart opened up, like at that point, how it was, man, holy shit.
Well, it's interesting regarding relationships too, because it's like you give some and you lose some, right? So it's like, for me, I felt like I was losing a lot of I came into my previous marriage with like a lot of overflowing amount of like metaphysical, spiritual like type of energy. And then like I felt like because I was so in the quote unquote clouds with everything, I wasn't based in like on the ground. I didn't have my feet on the ground. I didn't have a lot of practical knowledge of the world, things like that. And through my previous marriage, I actually learned a lot of that stuff through her, and give a lot of credit to her. But it was like through that process, I lost a lot. I felt like I had lost a lot of that spiritual intuition, if you will. Like almost like it callous. It had like a callus on my third eye almost, because
Yeah.
when you like focus on the material so much, you kind of like lose sight of the bigger picture oftentimes. And that's just according to my experience. And so it's interesting how like in relationships, like I said, you gain overall. It was a net. It was something that I think we both could say that helped us catapult us to like the next stage of our spiritual awakening. But like during that process, felt like there were times maybe we were dying or like felt like we were like, when you have heartbreak and all that type of stuff, it's like one of the worst things sometimes. So it's like pretty amazing when you can have like the effect and power that like one's love for another can create, like can what it can do.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like the polarities of energy, right?
Yeah.
The extreme, euphoric, epiphany of being alive
Hmm.
with that, love and all that stuff, and then like at the pits of, disparity and like almost wanting to end your life because you don't have that anymore type of shit.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I've been there, man. I'm sure you
Yeah.
have as well, man.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I always say, as my late friend used to say, I would never give anybody the satisfaction of killing myself. But having said that, though, I felt like obviously like death when I had a heartbreak, like that, and it's not fun. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but those just because there's thoughts and feelings about those things doesn't, mean that
no,
we're identifying with them or this and that.
exactly,
It's part of
exactly.
the human
No, that's a part of the
spectrum of
human.
emotion, and
Exactly. Yeah, and like that's the fucked up part about it is that as soon as the institution gets involved, they wanna start start putting handcuffs behind you. You know, they want to start you. You know, if you dare confess your feelings to the public, to society, they're ready with everyone's walking around with their own mini pair of handcuffs, ready to throw you in the behind bars.
is that
It's
why
just
they plead the fifth, or do they really
yeah,
need this spliff?
yeah. They listen to Taylor Swift.
Oh shit! I hope not. But before I forget, man, like
Yes, sir.
I like what you mentioned of just like what we've learned, in that complementary type of union relationship
Yeah.
with the the ones that we've loved and this and that, and yeah, looking. I've said this numerous times of just having like that cosmic love, agape,
Yeah.
and respect and reverence for just the love I shared with another human being. It's a
Hmm.
wonderful thing, and just been fortunate to have, I guess,
Ah, yeah.
more cleaner types of breakups, I guess,
Hmm.
and not getting fucked over or that kind of stuff, and being able to also control and navigate the breakups to where we are on good terms, for the most part, and this and that. And I have told them personally and respectively, like, hey, like, really appreciate our experience, despite
Yeah.
whatever it is right now. You know, I've learned a lot from you.
Yeah.
There's always a special place in my heart for that, you know. And voila.
Exactly.
C'est la vie, mon ami. It's life. And
Yeah.
excuse my
And-
French, right?
And to go, like, before I forget about this saying, it's like it's better to have lived. It's better to have lived and loved than to not have loved at all. And how do you say that in French?
C'est mieux c'est beaucoup mieux d'avoir l'amour que de vivre sans amour. There's no
It's
equal
not direct translation.
expression. Yeah, it's not the best type of thing. But
Mhm.
what it all goes back to, like, how much love does one have for them fucking selves first and foremost? Because if they ain't got much of that, they ain't got much to give to other
Right.
people to have a proper, loving, foundational relationship. You know.
That's so true. Yeah, and that's the key lesson for me. And I would say, like, a lot of people going on in the season right now with all this psychic weather, and I do feel that, like, you know, self-love, self-validation, self-worth is definitely a theme right now. And before entering into any, like, romantic relationship, one should definitely be secure as much as they can be, you know, with themselves and in terms of that. So it's and, like, I want to go back to really quick, and of course we're editing this out. I want to go back to, like, what you were saying about, you know, when heartbreak and all that. And it's, like, interesting how at the end of it you were saying to your, you know, ex-wife that you thanked her, and you were worrying. It sounded like you were thanking her, and that you were acknowledging with her that how much she's taught you and stuff like that. And I did the same. And I think when you do that and let go of the maybe the before that there was resentment, maybe, like, by letting go of that resentment is such a powerful thing. And so, like, kind of just acceptance in general is such a powerful thing.
And it keeps the heart balanced to the feather of my ox on that scale as well. Because we can't go for the rest of our lives to the end of it, you know, with that weight. You know.
It's such,
Yeah, you know. And yeah, it's not just also learning from the woman that we've been with, but also just the overall experience and being able to alchemize it and do the shadow work. And do the objective observations and all that stuff, and heal from it, and correct ourselves, and look at our part in the demise of the thing, and recognize the two-way street of it. And
No, totally. Yeah, it's like you said, it is alchemy. It's definitely alchemy, and it's a natural process. That's the thing. It's like some people, when they think of alchemy, they think they have to force it. But it's not really about forcing it, is it? It's like kind of like what if you're living your personal life and you're kind of in tune with it, you're gonna life is gonna initiate you, and those processes are gonna happen regardless.
More naturally, organically, in a sense.
Yeah. But, like, it's true. Like, it doesn't have to be just with, like, your significant other. It could be with any relationship, life experience that you learn from that knocks you off, you know, knocks you onto your ass. You know, you're gonna fall down, and then you're gonna learn your lessons, hopefully, and then pick yourself back up. But yeah, brush yourself off. Brush them shoulders off. Oh my god. Yeah, that's been a while since that.
But it's not that cool, like, just like it was nothing, and it's just like that, you know, like folks act like it's that easy to, you know, brush off, you know, trauma and all that stuff. Like, no, do the fucking work. Don't act like, you know, it's some glorified, you know, easy, you know, virtue signaling, you know, lip servicing shit.
Exactly. It's not easy, and it's okay to feel those feelings, and it's okay to, you know, go through those, like, inner processes that you're trying to suppress, like you're unconsciously trying to suppress. But, like, the more you suppress it, the more it's going to come outside. It's going to show up in your external world more and more and more. Like, so you might as well deal with it head on, like, not like in a sadistic way, but head on, But
Yeah, otherwise those negative cycles are going to repeat, like that feedback loop bullshit. That's why it's
yeah,
like we got to dust ourselves off to kind of go through that alchemical process of the separation after
yeah,
the calcination, the negative,
yeah,
and separating the falsities from the purities and all that stuff, and go through the distillation and coagulation and yada yada.
hmm
I skipped a bunch, but it's best
yeah,
not to like in one's personal life and workings to not bypass a damn thing. It's for the
yeah,
betterment of all, and then we're going to be attracting the more positive things that we actually truly want from that heart-based intelligence. I think.
yeah, exactly.
Proceed. What I mean.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, and just that, yeah, I think that kind of sums it up in terms of like the, whoa, I think today, oh, I thought no, in terms of the harm, the union of opposites, and then like um, the whole alchemical process is just like you're going to experience it in different forms and different waves in your life, and yeah, like it's just not worth fighting it. But there's definitely going to be times where you're going to have to go through it at your own pace, and it's not like you have to force it. So um, wow, it definitely related to all. It's interesting. It's funny how like we started off talking about the catacombs and then got here, but it all interconnects. And this is just like if you put all the podcasts that you've done all together, it probably would be seamless. Like you could see the interconnectivity between all of them.
Yeah, brother. A lot of correspondence and transcendence and all that stuff, and it's like the dance of life, trying to end the trance
Yes,
end dance, right? If you
trance and dance.
will.
That's you
Yeah,
get in the well,
we
it's like
weren't
the
dancing in the
sutras.
catacombs, but yeah, it was quite a wonderful journey. Just had positive afterthoughts ever since that experience.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that experience with us. And
Yeah, for sure. And I might edit some things into this to give a
yeah,
more street level feel to this stuff because
I like it.
yeah, man, it's one thing to like I said, to like hear me say this, but to like see it through my eyes, what I saw on a daily basis of lines of people like on a all the time, lining up to go underground to see what's up with these catacombs and witness all the skull and bones and all that stuff and
Yeah, skull and bones. That's funny.
right. That's another topic all in and of itself. But yeah, it's like it's so great to talk to you, Jungle. Because we can correlate so many different things. That correspond to the Hermetica and all these things that we take into practice with
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's really wonderful hearing your personal story and connecting all those dots with you because it's yeah, it's not always easy to do that on your own, I would say. And I'm sure you've already thought about it very deeply, but it's cool to reflect on again once again. And yeah, I really appreciate you sharing your experiences. We'll get together soon and maybe talk more about um, what's next on the horizon. All right.
sounds great, brother, man. And yeah, really, truly, I'm grateful for you holding this space and inviting me on to share this type of story and yeah, trying to like bring value to whatever topics that might seem a little mundane or irrelevant on service level. But yeah, we always love to throw in some of that natty law and all that stuff.
Natty law.
We're just trying to encourage and empower people at the end of the day,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly. And that's, you can't get much better than that.
and that's a fact.
That's right.
Much love, yo.
Check you out on the other side. And everybody, if you could just please check out at your own leisure Derek Barticelli's work on AwakenYaMind and also his Dissolving the Divide and the One Great Network platform. That'd be wonderful. He's got a lot of curious material to check out, and yeah, in-depth metaphysical content. So appreciate it, everyone listening out there, and talk to you guys later. Peace.
Ciao. Thank you.